Greg Banks with the airnetwork.net tonight. Special pleasure to talk with Gary Weld, who is the president of Huntingdon Little League. There in Huntingdon, Pennsylvania. Glad to have you along, Gary. I guess you're going to be a busy man in the next couple of days, huh?
Oh, yes. We got a lot going on here in the next week or two here. We got Huntingdon Little League opens up on April 11th. We have games at 6 o'clock in the evening. And then we'll run games all throughout the week of the 11th here. And then the 16th, we'll be doing our opening day ceremony at the ball field.
Right. Let me ask you this before we get into the specifics of what's happening on the 16th and opening week. Hey, I found out you guys were just recently doing Tag Day to raise funds for the Huntingdon Little League. How'd that work out for you this year?
We had a very good turnout for Tag Day with the way the economy is. We're tickled. We actually had one of our best Tag Days that I can remember from coaching, and this is my second year as president. We beat last year's totals. Like I said, the businesses, we thank the businesses for letting the kids stand out in front of their businesses and establishments to collect the funds that help keep the Huntingdon Little League afloat.
Yeah. How long you been involved in Little League, whether it be coaching or now as the president? How long have you been involved?
Probably, I'd say the last 8 to 10 years as a coach. In the last 2 years, I've been the president of the league.
And as a parent, I imagine you've had some children that have grown up through Little League as well, correct?
Yes, I had 2 boys that went through the whole way through instructional league at 7 and 8 up through 9 and 10, 11 and 12. I had 2 that went through that, and I won over in senior league this year.
Oh, okay. Well, let me ask you this, Gary. As a lot of folks aren't familiar with the Little League in Huntingdon, and but they are kind of interested, and they know about Little League out of Williamsport, I guess the national organization, actually the worldwide organization. But there you are, the president of Huntingdon. It takes a lot of people to help you run that league, correct?
That's correct. I have a great board of directors under me. We have myself, like I said, as president. Vince Bafia has been a long-term board member, is the vice president. Jeff Speck is our secretary. Tracy Peck is our treasurer. Player agent is Missy Bezak Long.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, Kim, which she deals with a lot of stuff with a lot of phone calls in the evenings and stuff. She is our food booth coordinator. I got a head umpire is Nate Shope. Then we have each division has their own rep that sits on the board that gets the vote on the board. They're basically the say for their committee. Craig Erdman is the instructional league, which is 7-8 board member. Frank Miller is the 9 and 10 rep, and Marty Everhart's 11 and 12. And this year we picked up girls softball, and we have the coordinator. The commissioner for that is Danielle Shea, and Bob Corvell is the player agent.
Hey, before we get into the Little League or the girls softball league, let me ask you this, because it takes a community really to make this thing happen every year. I was involved in Little League over 50 years ago, and we'll talk a little bit about a celebration coming up honoring the 50th anniversary of the state Little League team that went and won the states in '66. But having said that, all these people have an important role in Little League. Now, are you closely following rules, regulations of the Little League out of Williamsport as we see every year on ESPN? Or are there certain rules and regulations that are just kind of germane to the local area? How's that work, Gary?
Well, we're chartered under Williamsport, so you got to go by the rules. Now, we can modify, like we can have some local rules for like safety purposes, like at one time we had a must slide at home. It didn't matter whether there was a play or not. I mean, if there's a play at home, you had to slide.
Yeah.
We bounced back to just last year went back to a must avoid contact. So like safety issues and stuff, face mask, they don't really dictate. They say younger kids should have the face mask on their thing.
Yeah.
When they get the All-Stars, 11 and 12s have the option of taking the face mask off. We make it a league rule that you have to have the face mask.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah, we're governed under Williamsport rules and regulations, but you can, as a local chapters and stuff, you can make rules for safety.
Yeah, and for your own community. Let me ask you this, because something we didn't have 50 years ago when I played Little League Baseball, which was a big community event back then too. We didn't have all the different divisions. Tell me, what kind of divisions do you have, and what are the ages of these children?
All right, our Instruction League program, which is a 7 and 8 division, that's an 8-year-old division. Then we have a 9 and 10 division, which when you played 9 through 12 together.
Yes, we did.
Probably 10 years ago, they split it where they play 9 and 10s together, then we have the 11 and 12 division together. So we have 3 different divisions in baseball.
Okay. And we also had tryouts. In other words, when you were 8 or 9 years old, you had to try out for the league. And I remember I tried out at 8 years old, and I was told I couldn't play, which I cried my eyes out. But do you still have tryouts for all the leagues or all
We do tryouts. So basically, every kid will make a team.
Okay.
We don't have, like back when I played and you played, we had a farm league where you had to make Little League. And if you wasn't good enough to play on Little League, you played in the farm league. 9 through 12 could play together the whole way through that. Too.
Right.
With the kids more this day, there's more. Back in the day, they didn't have spring soccer and fall.
Yeah.
They have all the programs. Pretty much if you play basketball, you can travel all the time with basketball year round. Same way as soccer. It got to be where the numbers were getting, low in baseball and stuff.
Yeah.
Where we had to eliminate the farm league where back in the day, 7 and 8-year-olds actually, played probably at the community center league. It was just 9 through 12 through for the farm league back in the day. But now it's 7 and 8, and Little League actually offers a T-ball, which we don't have that at Huntingdon Little League. But, Huntingdon Community Center runs the T-ball division.
Yeah. I just talked to Teresa there, who was telling me about the T-ball division. Last week we had her on the air with us, and that's interesting. You remember the farm league? I believe they called it in Johnstown, where I just came from, and also in Mount Union years ago, they called it minor league baseball. But that's kind of cool.
Williamsport considers it like they offer, like I said, they start out at actually T-ball for both Little League and girls softball, and then like they have the T-ball, and they actually go like they do call it minor and major, and then intermediate type. They actually, our Little League stops at 12. There's actually another division which is 13 to 16 that they offer in baseball, which we don't do that. The bases are, instead of 60 feet apart, they're 70. The mound's a little bit further back. It's pretty much like Teener League is now. Yeah. But with Teener League being there,
it kind of fills that. It kind of fills that void for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, let me ask you this: how many teams are in the Huntingdon Little League these days? And of course, it's always volunteer coaches, and of course, parents are involved. I think we had like 6 to 8 teams when I played. How many teams in your league?
Right now, we're sitting with 6 instructional, which is that's the 7 and 8 teams, 8-year-olds, and then we have 7 at the 9 and 10.
Right.
And we only have 4 this year in our 11 to 12 division, which you're looking at 17 teams. Is that correct? Right?
Yeah.
So with the girls softball and everything, like you're going to talk about here in a little bit with it.
Yeah.
We have 5 teams in that, so we have 22 teams.
Wow.
Throughout the whole Little League.
Man, you're probably never getting home this summer. You're probably you better bone up one and get all your sleep, Gary, because you're going to need it, man. Hey, but listen, let me ask you this, because it's just cool to talk to you about Little League, and it's near and dear to the heart of many, grown men even to this day. But I remember some of the teams being the Pirates, the Reds. I was on the Cardinals. We played the Braves, the Giants. You still kind of follow that pattern with the naming of the teams?
Yes, we still have they're all the major league sport teams.
Wow.
We try to keep a national league, like the 9 and 10s are national league teams, and then the American League teams, and then the 11 and 12s are national. Yeah. And with the instruction league, they're a little mix. They have a little bit of national and American in them.
Yeah. I wonder if these kids are fighting to get on the Pirates just for the name.
Like I said, they try out, and the managers, like I said, they do pick them, and every kid makes it. We still follow the rules with Williamsport. The kid must play 2 innings of play and a bat once in the thing, and as many kids, 9 and 10, they have a average about probably 11 kids on the team, so they're only having to sub 2. So a lot of kids get more than the playing time than the two innings and 1 at bat.
Well, Jeff Speck and I were kind of, we were sort of like reminiscing earlier today on Facebook about all the people who were very instrumental in our lives, even 30, 40 years ago, even 50 years ago. They were our Little League coaches, because really that's where you get the first impression of playing against one another, competition. You guys still do the motto before you do the national anthem? Little League baseball?
We do. Yeah, we do actually do the national anthem, then we do the Little League pledge.
Yeah, the pledge. Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was a proud moment that when I got that phone call, and I imagine every young person is waiting to get drafted, and when they get that phone call, that's got to be the most exciting thing in their lives as a young person, huh?
I actually had a lot of parents. We tell the kids, or we tell the coaches when they get home from the draft, make sure you call your kids. It's very important, because we don't want Joey going home or go to school the next day and find out that Johnny's on the Reds, but this kid never got a phone call. So we make sure every coach, hey, make sure you call your kids that night. That way, when they get to school, because that's the talk of the next day. I made one of the Pirates. I made one of the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's so important that they all get notified.
Yeah, we want to make sure it's all, even playing field, and make sure they all know. That way, Johnny don't go to school and, no one called me.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool. That's so cool. I was just remembering back to those days, man. Like, that was probably the most exciting time of my life as a youngster. Let's talk about the women and the girls getting involved now, because that is such a cool thing that you have now developed a league for these young girls who have been pitching and catching with their dads and their brothers. Now they get a chance to play ball. Yeah,
we had a lot of requests from parents and everyone to take up to bring on girls softball. Now, Huntingdon Community Center offers girls softball, and like I said, we have a lot asking us to take it. What's nice about this, going into the season with us talking to do the girls softball, I was looking, oh man, how many teams are we going to get? Are we going to have enough kids to even field a team? I talked with Mount Union, talked to our district administrator, Mario DeVore, out in West Suburban. What if we only get 2 teams? We're going to try to start this up. I'm not sure where it's going to go. I talked with Mount Union in case they didn't have in case we only got enough for 2 teams. Can we interplay district, in our district play with Mount Union? And then when the numbers started flying, and before we knew it, we have actually 14 girls on 5 teams.
Wow.
We have 5 teams with 14 girls. We actually could have won a 6th team.
Yeah.
And we actually are bringing 2 teams from Mount Union up. They in return had only enough for 2 teams down there.
Yeah.
And to play each other, 20 times wasn't going to be fun for them. So we invited them up to come up to play in our league with us. And so we have R5 and 2 teams from Mount Union coming up. So we have 7 teams in our league this year that I'm really looking forward to it. It's something that is new for Little League for Huntington. Williamsport's offered girls softball, and they get the chance to, like the boys, they'll play for a district title. Make all-stars play for districts, and they can get, if they win districts, they can move on to sectionals just like the boys. They have their own World Series. It's usually in Bristol, Connecticut,
the home of ESPN.
Yep, they're up. They go up there. It's really exciting. Like I said, we have about we're looking at 5 teams, like I said, with 14 girls on each team this year. But it should be very interesting. Our first taste of them, I think that they're on the field. I think they might have an opening on the 11th too.
Okay, so they've got an opening on the 11th, and they'll probably start Tuesday. Now, is their field right behind the Little League field in Huntingdon
right
there?
Inside, we share with the Huntingdon Junior Varsity baseball team.
Okay.
It's the all dirt infield.
Right.
Right. It's actually the outfield's the Huntingdon football.
Yeah, exactly.
Practice field.
Yeah, so right out there in left field of the Huntingdon Little League field is where that softball field was, basically center field.
Yep.
And I see you guys have a concession stand. I think there's one out there too, isn't there?
We have one that sits between the two fields.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. And like I said, we're looking forward to I know on the Saturday, the 16th, with the opening ceremonies, we're actually featuring one game from each division.
Okay.
So it should be fun day Saturday.
Well, yeah, we'll do the best weekend to get the word out and promote it heavily for you. And matter of fact, I'll try to get in touch with, and I'm sure if you get in touch with Channel 10, they'll come down and probably do a story on that, because that'd be a great weekend story, you know what I mean, about Huntingdon Little League and, of course, now the Girls Softball League. You mentioned a name, I think, Mario, from West Suburban. Well, that was my old neighborhood for 25 years. I just moved back from there up in Westmont. Yeah, right near the Hiram G. Andrews Center and up in that area. So
Mario's now the district rep for this area.
Okay. Well, Mario listened to me on the radio up there as Greg Bankson for many years. So I do know that area, and I do know the folks from West Bourbon, or Westmont, as we call it there. Let me ask you this. Okay, so you're going to be a busy man. You've got all this stuff going on. Opening day, and I don't even know if this even matters, because I know they were doing a lot of work down there at the waterworks. What about parking? I mean, can we park down there this year, or is that a problem?
Parking is at a premium. The swimming pool, Huntington has a swimming pool there. We'll get permission from Spiders to use that lot.
Okay.
I'm sure they get packed in down there. Like I said, we are only about probably 3/4 of a lot due to the waterworks project, and that's been holding us back from hosting any sectional tournaments and stuff the last couple of years. Which I also told our district administrator too. If anything comes up next year with that waterworks being done, Huntington would like to have a chance if it's our turn to have a sectional or you always get district games down there. You always have your district home games, but the next step up after districts is sectionals, and we told them we'd like to put a bid in for that if one's available next year.
How do they determine where the state championship's going to be played, Gary? Would Huntington maybe be in the position to bid for that? Maybe down the road, maybe let's say even 5-10 years from now.
Every district it swings around the districts.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this year I'm not 100% sure. Mount Union is going to be hosting a state tournament, whether it's 9 or 10 or 11 and 12.
Okay. Yeah, so one of the divisions.
They'll bring 8. One of the divisions of baseball, 9 and 10 or 11 and 12, is actually going to be hosted by Mount Union this year.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have 8 teams. That's what the state brings in, 8 teams that will come in and bid for the state champion at the 9 and 10 level, or 11 or 12 will be
right.
You'll have a champion, pinned at Mount Union there.
Well, that certainly has to help the economy. I mean, if you can have a sustaining tournament for a couple of days, I mean, the hotels, of course, get booked up, maybe the restaurants, that type of thing. I mean, I would hope that Huntingdon down the road somewhere gets one of those. That'd be cool. Yeah,
it takes a lot of prep. Mount Union actually just found out last month that West Suburban was going to do it, and they backed out, so Mount Union jumped on it. I might have thought about it for Huntington, but with our half parking lot down there,
exactly. Yeah,
it wasn't on our
on the radar. Well, you know what?
It wasn't feasible for us to do it. I mean, and say we usually know a good year in advance. I didn't want to put my neck out in the line. We could have probably asked to put in for it this year, the one they offered, when West Suburban backed out. But I with the parking lot situation the way it is, and not only having like 3 months basically to plan it, it just wasn't feasible for us to stick our neck out in the line.
Well, that's a good thing. I grew up, by the way. If you look over from the City League field, the left field fence there, you'll see the chapel across the wall there at the old swimming pool. Yeah, right up on the hill there in the yellow house. So that's where I grew up, man. I was down at that ball field every day. I was one of those Little League kids. I'm serious. It was unreal. It's one of the greatest pleasures of my life. I spent my summers down at the City League field. When I got older, of course, I played Teener League baseball and then high school ball and City League ball right there. But let me ask you this, Gary. As these children progress, especially with the softball league, that's got to help at least the high school programs now, because they really didn't have a feeding program necessarily to move these kids past junior high or into JVs. Did they at all?
No. This year, Huntingdon started a junior high girls softball team.
Okay.
And I think the way it's set up, it's I'm not sure of the grades. I think it might be 7th and 8th graders.
Mm-hmm.
I know they can actually play both if they had to. I mean, they could play both us and them.
Yeah.
Because their season's about over when we start. They're
That's
they're
right.
winding down, and we're still going.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, to answer your question, yes. I mean, back in the day, no, they didn't have the feeder program. Now, the girls now can play through us, and then
junior high program.
Junior high program, leave us and go to junior high program.
Yeah, I think that was cool because that'll create such a great synergy that, we may see some girls softball teams at the districts every year, like we've seen, like some of those schools out in the Johnstown area, Forest Hills, Johnstown, Bishop McCourt, whatever might be the case. Well, let me ask you as we wrap up, Gary, coming up April 11th, you mentioned on Monday, they'll begin to play baseball down at the Little League field there in Huntingdon. Now, the big day, though, will be April 16th, which is that Saturday. There's a parade and everything going on that day, right?
Yeah, Saturday we're going to, with the opening day of trout season, we backed everything up. That way the kids can go fishing in the morning.
Okay.
Usually we used to start around 10 o'clock with the parade, or 10:30ish. With being trout season, we backed everything up. We're going to form the parade at the AGY parking lot.
Okay.
At 11:30. I'm sorry, 12:30.
That's AGY right there on Penn Street then, huh?
On Washington, uptown between 13th and...
AGY, the old fiberglass. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Between 12th and 13th on Washington. We're going to have some fire apparatus, and the police and the sheriff's department is going to participate in it. What they'll do is we're going to line the parade up. We're going to have the All-Stars from last year start off the parade with the 9 and 10 All-Stars and 11 and 12 All-Stars, and then we're going to feature our girls softball being... and then we'll go after the girls softball, we'll have the Instruction League 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 division. We'll parade down Washington Street to the field, and then we'll line on the field, and we got some awards to give out to last year's All-Star kids that made the All-Star team. We'll give them a plaque. And then we'll go with those ceremonies. This year we're bringing back, like you mentioned earlier, the 1966
state champions from Huntingdon. Yeah.
Yep, state championship. I got in contact with a lot of all the gentlemen that was on the team.
Right.
Personally, myself, and talked, and I have a very good showing that's going to be there.
Good.
I actually haven't had a guy tell me no. They all put it on their calendar. A lot of them I talked to. A couple of them are from out of state, Maryland and stuff. That be heading back in to the area that day, and we'd like to recognize them for their 50th year of their state championship title there.
Boy, that's going to be an exciting time. Now, I was just an alternate that year. I didn't get a chance to play because nobody got hurt, unfortunately. But I remember Kevin Black, Mike Crone, Benny Harris, Henry Green. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So I'm coming down just to take a look at those old dudes.
Yeah, Tom Miller,
yeah, man.
Bobby Mort. Now, what's neat too is
Ron Mort, man. Did you ever hear the story about Ron Mort hitting one off of the water tower over there at the waterworks?
No, I haven't.
Oh, man. He did.
That's a long shot.
Yeah, it's a long shot for a 12-year-old.
And we actually, your coach Bob Wright passed, and his wife's actually going to be coming up. I'm thinking she's from down living in North Carolina.
Yeah, Miss Cordy Wright. I was a Little League player, and Cordy Wright, Bob Wright, Darley Black. I mean, I could go through the list, Gary.
Yep.
They all spent time at that Little League field. That was like their second home. I thought they slept there. That's why I'm telling you, be prepared.
Yep. And like I said, we have her coming up, and then actually her grandson, which is Bob's grandson, is actually a manager of our Phillies team this year.
Wow.
It's pretty neat to we got to, like I said, we got to give them a little token of appreciation for coming back and to recognize them for their 50th year. And I made sure we got one for Mackenzie to partake in for the grandson.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
that coach in the league, and his pap was the head coach of the '66 championship team.
Yeah, Bobby Wright. There was Mr. McNeil. I believe he was assistant coach at the time. Like I said, Darley Black. I mean, there's a bunch of guys. Now, is there a plaque down there commemorating the '66 All-Stars? I believe somebody said.
The old scoreboard that sits in center field. Has on the back of it, we have all the district titles, and anytime the kids went on to runner-up in states. In the last year marked 75 years for Little League.
Wow! Yeah, yeah.
We had 3 teams that's made it to the state championship, and one has won it.
Wow! Okay.
The '66 team,
yeah.
And all that's on the back of the scoreboard. When with that, and then we have a little. Well, we have a. Underneath where all the district titles are, we have a state championship board with all the players' names, the coaches, and everything on it.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, congratulations, best of luck on the upcoming season. You know, you're in that position where you're impacting a lot of lives, Gary. I mean, there are some young people that will remember you for the rest of their lives, obviously, and everybody who's involved down there at the Huntingdon Little League, and especially with this new league with the girls. I mean, you guys can only expect to grow at this point, huh?
Oh, I tell you, not saying we stuck our neck out in the line for bringing on the girls, and
right.
I think so far it's been great. We welcome with open arms. We had a lot of expense to go through with everyone, getting the equipment and everything for
right.
5 teams. We added, like I said, when you look at catcher's gear and catcher's mitts, I mean, we
balls, bats, all that stuff.
The whole 9 yards. It's.
Well, let me ask you this: if anybody wants to donate, let's say, or bequest some money to the Little League, can they just readily maybe make out a check to Huntingdon Little League and then just...
we have a P.O. Box 126 Huntingdon.
P.O. Box 126 Huntingdon? Okay.
And then before we go, Sheets Incorporated has been a supporter of Huntingdon Little League for years. And
yes.
They, on top of our scoreboard this year...
I saw that.
we got a nice, generous donation from them. We got a 42 by 42 inch pitch count. Pitches in Huntington, pitches back when we played, you went by innings.
Yeah, exactly.
Now Williamsport wants to save the kids' arms and stuff. They have a pitch count. They have to have so many days rest for different structure of pitching. 30 days, 25 or under is no day rest. If you go over 25, you have to have a 1. But we. Sheets come through with a $2,000 donation for us to put a pitch count board on top of the scoreboard, so the fans and everyone, even the coaches, know what their pitch count is. So that way, a lot of times fans are out there in the outfield saying, "Why is he pulling that pitcher?"
Yeah.
They don't know that they ran out of pitches, and this way they know. And if they might have another game that week, they might pull them at 40, so he can only have to have a 2-day rest, so he can pitch. Say he pitches on a Monday and he wants him for a Saturday game, they might pull him out so he has that pitches, and that
Now,
way, it helps the fans know. Oh, all right.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's the other thing, and we'll talk about that maybe at a later time when I see you and I can bring my recorder. I want to just kind of touch base on how the parents' reaction is and what happens when these squabbles occur, because I know it wasn't always even when I was a kid, there were arguments that happened, and I had no understanding because I was a kid. But, they really looked out for our well-being. But how many pitches can a kid pitch a game before he's pulled? Is there a mandated a pitch count?
Well, 11 and 12 is 85 total pitches in a game.
Okay.
Anything after 85. Now, like I said, you can get into a lot. Just within the last 3 years, they put a catcher count in. If a catcher, if you want a catcher to go to pitcher, you have to pull him out. He can only catch 3 innings.
Okay, yeah.
So he has to go into get out of catcher. If he catches 1 pitch in the 4th inning, he can't go to pitcher.
Oh, okay.
It's just trying to save the kids' arms, and so it puts a lot more thinking on the coaches. They still got to get the kids in their mandated playing times and stuff, and then they add a lot to you with the pitch count and then the catcher count. So it makes the coaches think a little bit. We got a good group of coaches there. Like I said, 22 teams. That means you have 22 head coaches. You had at least 3 assistant coaches throughout the thing.
So you got like 66 different opinions going on at the same time.
And we, like I said, we got the girls softball there, and like I said, we have probably, I would guess right now we're sitting with over 170 some volunteers. Throughout the whole division.
Well, you know what?
We're sitting with 275 kids.
Yeah. Well, congratulations and the best of luck, Gary. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to the season. I'm going to stop down, hopefully on the celebration day, April 16th, but we'll keep pounding the fact that Little League Baseball is getting underway on Monday, April the 11th, down at Blair's Park or the Little League field and the softball field. Look for action all summer. Of course, you guys play up until, about June or so before tournaments?
We're going to like June 20-something this year, like 23rd. We can announce Williamsport don't let you announce the All-Stars till the 15th of June, so and then it's 2 weeks after the 15th and when the district play starts. So so the All-Stars, once the 15th comes, they pretty much the kids will be playing for their own team and then having practice with the All-Stars and stuff.
Right, and can the All-Stars still pick up like alternates or pick up? Used to be you could pick up a couple players from other teams.
A lot of that changed too. Now, if you take 13 kids,
right,
you can you don't have to play them the 1 inning or 2 innings of one at bat as long as you get them in the game, whether it's a pinch runner and stuff.
Right.
But with that. With the talent you have with the 13, the kids get more than just pinch running and stuff. So the coaches do a good job of getting them in.
Okay. Hey, well, listen, it's my pleasure talking with you, Gary. I get a chance to meet you soon. But listen, is there anything else you need us to cover for you as we move forward towards the opening of the season, like next week then?
I'll just, hey, if, like you mentioned earlier, the food booth's there. Come on down, enjoy a night of baseball at the Huntingdon Little League field, and look forward to a great upcoming season. Like I said, we're down here. We got 113 games on the Little League field and another 100 on the Instructional League field. So there's going to be a lot of baseball played down at Blair's Field this year.